This is it, our first race here at the road course that we're going to cover, the Canadian Enduro Series. And on the pole, the number 5, the M5 BMW of Peter Lockhart and Nick Mourant. What's the strategy here, Nick, going into the start of this race, 3 hours?
Well, we're just going to keep the car rolling right along. This car is very consistent and it's handling beautifully, and we got a great day out there today.
Does this weather affect the 3 hours, do you think? Is it a little too hot?
No, it's not too hot at all. It's just perfect.
All right, all the best out there to both of you.
Thank you.
And of course, on the outside of the front row, the number 0, Scotty Maxwell in the Quality Care Ford Mustang. Scott's just getting set to climb into the car. Scott, quickly on the outside for the first race.
Yeah, we're happy with the qualifying. Everyone's trying the new tires, and it's a bit of a crapshoot right now, but we'll see with the race. It's a long race, and we'll try to be there at the end.
Okay, all the best.
Thanks.
Scotty Maxwell, we'll start from the outside of the front row, and here we are, folks, pit stops on the grid for the first race here at Mosport in the Endurance Series. Just a few minutes already into the race, and there's a full course yellow, and you can see why. Greg Wilkins has rolled the number 3 Camaro just outside of turn number 10. We didn't see what happened, but I can tell you that it looks like there's a lot of damage on the car, and this team has had a rough week already. Last weekend at the regional, Kenny Wilden hit the inside of turn 10 here against the pit wall, and we told you about that on pit stop. And then yesterday in qualifying on Saturday, the teammate Paul Duckworth in the number 2 Camaro had hit in turn 5, and the crew had to go back to the shop Saturday night and repair the car. Now today, Greg has the car upside down in turn 10. Not a good weekend for the number 2 and 3 machines.
So this is a lesson in how to roll a car over.
Well, you knew we were going to be talking to the entire team, and Greg Wilkins, we didn't expect to be talking to you like this. We don't obviously have to say how unfortunate an incident that was.
Well, it was very disappointing. It happened so early in the race. Sometimes, accidents happen when you're racing, but there's no need to be so aggressive so early, and I'm really disappointed that we're knocked out so quick.
We didn't catch what happened. Can you describe to us exactly what had happened there?
Sure. The Mustang was closing in on me a little bit. I knew that he was coming up on the inside of me in 10. I tried to give him some room. He stuck his nose inside, and then he sideswiped the car, and when he hit me, I went up on the grass, lost control of the car, hit the tires, and then did a slow rollover.
I'm sure it was a little bit of a frightening moment for you, but it was also frightening for the people here beside you.
Right. Well, I've always wanted to know what it's like to hang upside down with my seatbelts on, and it's kind of like a ride at Wonderland.
Well, I'm glad you're okay, Greg.
Thanks very much.
Thank you. Still to go out in the number 2 car is Paul Duckworth, and Paul, you just witnessed your teammate going over on the front straight here.
Yeah, a bit of an unfortunate situation. Took a bit of a shunt from one of the slower cars, a Mustang. A little bit, I think, a case of a driver trying to do too much too early in the race, and it's really unfortunate because Greg just a victim of that.
You had a little problem yourself in turn 5, a little contact with the wall. You had to take the car back home and redo it.
Yeah, we didn't have the most successful qualifying run ever. I got into a little bit of trouble, got in too hot, brushed the wall, but completely driver error. The car's running really, really well. GM Goodwrench team is looking for a strong finish, and unfortunately it's only going to be 1 car instead of 2 now.
When you see your teammate upside down like that, and you still got to get into the car, what do you have going through your mind?
Well, really it's such a family sport. Really, first of all, you feel for Greg and his family, and secondly, you want to make sure that the second car is going to come home in as high as possible. What we're going to do is put Kenny, the second driver, in Greg's car, in our car, so all three of us can get some points, and hopefully we can pull off a top 5 finish.
Finally, the race concludes after 3 hours. Ken, what a race!
Finally. Well, it's good. I guess we got second. I think we got second, and that's good considering we had one car roll over and that. So we'll take the second and go home and be happy with that. We're pretty happy for Bob Johnson and Goodwrench. It was excellent.
Including the regional, the last week is one that you just want to put behind you guys now.
Yeah, this beginning of this year has been tough for us, and hopefully we're past it now, and we'll get our car back in shape. It was nice of Paul and Mike to let me in the car to get some points. That was really nice of them, and so we'll see. We'll be back in the next 2 cars. Keep it off the wall.
Good job.
Thanks.
I think we just heard it over the PA. Nearly a perfect day, but for you guys, it was a perfect day.
Well, it's always a perfect day when you end up coming home first, and the old waistcoat Bell Attitudes BMW, who's done it again here, seems to like this place. When the track is really slippery and when times are tough, the BMW shows its stuff. It's a very well-balanced car, and I could see that the others were not having as easy a time as I was, and so you just get in a rhythm and you keep pushing along. And Nick Mourant did a great job in the first half of the race, and I just had to bring it home. It wasn't too tough at all.
Anything significant about your run that made you a little bit concerned, perhaps, at all, or was it just a straight, clean run?
No, it was clean. I was a little concerned that the top of corner 2 was very slippery, and every once in a while, following people had to be careful that they didn't get offline. I was worried about getting collected as I was overtaking, but apart from that, it went very smoothly.
Well, congratulations.
Thanks very much.
Peter Lockhart.
That was good.
Catch your breath.
We have no hats?
No hats.
We're having a bad hair day.
Well, Teri seems to be complaining about a bad hair day, but you can't complain about the finish. Great job from both of you.
Yeah, well, Rolf got us there, and I just finished, so that was good.
How about that, Rolf? Did you encounter anything particular that made you a little nervous out there? Was it a good, clean run?
I think I've had more moments today than I've had in an entire season. I had a stuck throttle. I had an off in 8. I had an off in 2. We had moments just about everywhere on the track. But the car was great, and we managed to keep it going, so we're happy. We'll take third.
After all that, Teri, what kind of a car did he leave you with?
Well, no brakes, but an awesome car. So the Goodwrench Pontiac ran great, and I have no complaints other than we should have got Kenny a couple more laps. Maybe we would have.
Well, congratulations to both of you.
Thank you. Thanks.
Of course, a lot of you know the name Kenny Wilden from showroom stock endurance racing, the Players GM champion from '92, the '94 champion from the Canadian Endurance Series, and now 7th on the grid on the Mosport 200 weekend for the SCCA Trans Am headliner. Congratulations, that was an excellent qualifier.
Well, thanks very much. You know, it's taken a lot to get used to this car in such a short period of time. You know, I think the team's only had 6 days to get the car ready, and this was only my second day in the car, so we're very, very happy.
Right from the first practice yesterday morning, you were, on it pretty soon. Do you think that the time you took the ASA car to the pole here at Mosport really played into that factor?
Well, I think it certainly gave me a feel for what kind of car with full slicks and big horsepower can do, and I think that experience was helpful. But that was a long time ago. It was 2 years ago, and these cars are much faster than the ASA car here. They're much more sort of pitch sensitive in the corners, and so there's a lot more fine tuning, but certainly that experience helps, yeah.
Ken, how about your past experiences? A lot of people have seen you on the Players GM cars, but where did your racing begin, and what really got you sparked into the whole racing routine here?
Well, I started actually out with Young Drivers of Canada as a driving instructor, and met some people that were racing, went to the track, kind of got hooked, and I went to racing school. In 1988, I ran the 88 Honda Michelin series, and just basically got hooked from there. And then 89 moved into the Firehawk series and the GM series, and got Rookie of the Year and won the Firehawk series. So it sort of progressed from there, and we managed to luckily pick up some good sponsorship, and we've been able to carry that through the last few years. So that's really it's been at times it's been a steep curve in terms of moving up very quickly, and the last year we seem to slow down, and hopefully this will be the start to the next step for me.
You had some open wheel experience, of course, with the Players Limited Toyota Atlantic Championship Series, and you did fairly well there, actually, with a lot of top 5 or top 7 finishes as well, right?
Yeah, Atlantic, first time I was in an open wheel car, and it was something else. It was the fastest car I've ever been in terms of acceleration. A lot to get used to. You don't feel a lot in those cars. The car doesn't you don't feel it roll over like a Trans Am car or a showroom stock car. So, but we did very well, and I think that my driving style can suit either venues. I can adapt well as long as I get some practice, get comfortable with what the car wants to do, not what I want it to do. So when I ask it to do stuff, it gets nasty on me. But so yeah, we've done very well. Yeah.
As far as your future goes, do you see it more in closed wheels or back into open wheels? What's your game plan?
Well, I think if you ask people around the paddock, they say, well, Ken's really a closed wheel driver, but I don't think that's the case. I think I can drive anything. I proved that in Atlantic. I would like to be an IndyCar. That would be my ultimate goal, or something like the British Touring Car Series, which is closed wheel. But I can adapt to any car. It's just if you know how to drive, you just learn to adapt yourself to the car, and that's all it takes.
Well, for this weekend, you're in a Trans Am car, and following the race, we're going to have a chat with you as well and get that post-race recap from your words. And all the best. Congratulations again. 7th on the grid for qualifying. Fantastic effort.
Thanks, Glenn.
Kenny Wilden will drive the number 40 Slick 50 in the Trans Am race this weekend.
Okay? Yeah.
Well, as you saw from last week's show, Dorsey is certainly looking forward to a better weekend at Mosport.
Yeah, we had a problem early on and got a lap down. That really hurt us, and that was unfortunate. We had a really good race car during that race. We could have won that race, and we came back from way back in the back and did a good show for the fans anyway, but we want more out of it, and this weekend maybe we can show it.
Now let's put that behind us now and just talk about this weekend. Your thoughts so far as the qualifying's now been completed?
Well, I've always liked Mosport. It's a great racetrack for us. It's we would have liked to have been for the pole, but it didn't come out that way. We ran like a couple laps and saw where everything shuffled out, and then we were back in 3rd place. And the guys up front had us by about 8/10. You can't hurt these tires in qualifying because you got a race on them. So I said, all right, we'll just ride around, which I did, and we got bumped back to 4th, which puts us in the front row, and that's what we were looking for. If you can't be on the pole, you might as well start in the front row, since they invert the top 5, and so we're in the front row.
After the Fast 5 qualifying, there is still one more qualifier practice, and only the bottoms from 6th down can improve their position. Do you go out and use that as a final setup?
Yeah, we'll go out there and use it as a race setup. We'll fill the race car completely full of fuel and put a set of tires on equivalent to what we will be running in the race, and we'll go see what the race car is going to feel like in the race. Run minimal amount of time, maybe 8-10 laps total, just get a handle for what the car is going to be like, and then give it back to these guys so they can address all of the issues for tomorrow.
What kind of changes have happened over the winter between the two chassis, and you think it's made a big difference from last year's times here?
Well, we've done quite a bit on our cars. We've got 7 different chassis that we work with throughout the winter, and we've changed them all around. And most of that testing you do makes you slower. You try 100 things and 99 of them don't work, and then you come up with one that does. So we're a little bit better off, I think, than we were last year, and all these good professional teams do the same thing. So it's interesting going into the first race, because you know that you're better, but you don't know how much better, and you don't know how much better everybody else is. So we got to Phoenix, and we had a good race car there. Unfortunately, we got in a situation where we shouldn't have been and got a lap down early on, but both Boris and myself and Brian, all 3 of us, were running on the racetrack in the top 5, so we had 3 cars in the top 5 at the end of that race. So if that works out today, we won't be a lap down.
And I remember at last year's race when Boris's car limped across the line, he had a standing ovation from the crowd. It was a great job by Boris. He's been really coming along with the team, and I'm sure that you've been really helping out with all of his driving strategies.
Boris is an ace, no doubt about it. He's driven and won in all kinds of different cars, and he's going to be really good in transit. And Brian too. These guys, we spent the whole winter, testing, and the testing with those guys. We put them in there and just told them, man, run, just keep running and driving, and we gave them terrible tires and terrible cars, and got them used to how bad things can get if things get bad, and then put them into a good situation, and they're going to do well. Because of my plight in Phoenix, I'm way down in the points. Boris is sitting in 3rd in the points. He's out-qualified me here today, so he gets a point for 3rd place, and Brian's catching up a little bit too. So yeah, I got a good teammate there, and he's going to be somebody to reckon with.
Just a couple more quick questions. As far as Mosport's concerned, any part on the track that you hold your breath on?
Half of it. Turn 4 is probably the most frightening corner in racing. Turn 2 and Turn 4, both of them, you're falling down off a cliff basically at high speed, top of 4th gear, and in Turn 4's instance, if you get off the road, it would be catastrophic. You're going right into a woods at 150 miles an hour. And Turn 2, you're falling off a cliff and you can't see where you're going. It's like riding a roller coaster, but this one you can fall off of.
A lot of people talk about Mosport and give it some praise. Would you say if you can run well here at Mosport, you're a good driver at almost any track?
Yeah, absolutely. When I started racing a long time ago, 24, 25 years ago, these were the type of tracks there were out there. Mosport's a track from way back then, and I would take a track like this any day over these city streets where you're running through the city. This is a real racetrack.
I look forward to the race. Thanks for the time now.
Thank you.
Dorsey Schroeder, look for him in the race. He's always one to contend with. Well, here's the face that everybody recognizes and has been around Mosport a long time. Congratulations, fastest qualifier, new track record, but you're starting 6th.
Oh, that's okay. They've changed the system a little bit. It's kind of similar to the Players GM series, but we've got to get the points for qualifying. The race is 100 miles, so it'll take a while. This place is a tough place to pass, but you've got to go for the points. So starting on the 3rd row, hopefully it won't be too much trouble.
So much success with the bow tie here at Mosport. Happy to be back?
Yeah, absolutely. It seems odd that this year the SCCA decided to do this inversion. I switched to a Camaro, and that's what I used to race in the showroom stock Camaro days, was inverting the top 5 or whatever it was. And so it seems this is the way it should be, I guess. Drive a Camaro when they do an inverted grid.
You guys really turn this track in a pretty fast pace. What kind of strategies do you have, or how the setup for the corners? Do you have a lot of time? Where do you do all your brakings? And give us an example, maybe of a couple corners, say 2 or something, or 5.
Yeah, the Turn 1, Turn 2. Initially, it's very difficult here. It's a very intimidating track, so it really takes a couple of sessions to get comfortable with the car and the racetrack, because you really have to put a lot of trust in your car. Going over the top of 2, for instance, we're going over the top of the hill at 140 miles an hour. And you've got to believe that as you crest and go down the hill, the car is still going to stick. So it's there's a certain amount of certainly bravery, but it's kind of an educated bravery test. My Camaro is very, very good, and the amount of testing we've done, you get to a point where you're comfortable, taking the car to the edge and maybe a little bit over, and then you've got to use a little bit of skill to try and keep it on the gray stuff. So it's certainly an intimidating racetrack, Mosport, but I love it.
Yeah, obviously you've had a lot of success here as well. Your experience is, not to be mentioned. It's just incredible how well you've done. You're a good qualifier. You can really set up a car, but you've come back to Camaro. And I'm just wondering, did Jamie Gallis's Camaro experience help with this team, or the fact that it's a new chassis? Everybody started here from ground zero.
We pretty much started from ground zero. Brand new car. Plus the fact that we've had some rule changes. We're carrying an extra 50 pounds. They've changed the differential that we're allowed to use, and it's a much more antiquated system. And we're at an 8,200 RPM rev limit. Last year these Camaros would rev to 9,000, but now we have an 8,200 RPM rev limit. So we're a little bit slower in a straight line overall than last year, but I think this new car is going around corners a little quicker. So we've managed to break the record here, so we're doing something right. It took us a while to figure out. There's a lot of hard work done by all the people at Chevrolet and all the guys that work on this American equipment team. They are not afraid of hard work. They've won 4 championships, and that's what I'm here to do, is get my first and win their 5th.
Well, I think about 90% or more of the people here are certainly Ron Fellows fans, and hope that that 6th place starting spot soon becomes a first, and we don't have to be going like this, holding our hearts. We just watch you lead the whole race. Good luck out there.
Thank you very much. We've had a tough time the last 3 or 4 years, so I'm looking forward to a real good race here. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Ron Fellows. Jamie Gallis had his best finish of 94 right here at Mosport, and you're back once again. You had a top 5 qualifying run, but you've just announced to us that something went wrong.
Yeah, unfortunately we've gone from starting first to starting last. We were 2 pounds underweight, and it was just a miscue. We overlooked it, and even though it's only a real minimal amount, a 2,600 pound car, I guess it's enough to send us to the back, but we know we got the car to be up front, and hopefully if I can make it through the carnage and everything, and we can be back in front, in the end.
Well, that's a story in itself too, from worst to first perhaps.
Yeah. I've never really been passed by that many cars without doing anything. I don't really know what to think, but ICI Glidden Chevy is running strong, and we're still hopeful about tomorrow.
What do you think about this Chevy versus the Chevy you ran last year?
Well, it's a whole different car. This is a new car this year, and everything is first class when you're with a factory effort. There's really no comparing it to last year. I think last year we did best we could with what we have, but definitely better equipment this year, and hopefully I'll make good use of it.
As far as the sedans go, you did some Atlantics into the sedans now, and actually you had a sedan ride not too in the past, what, 89 I guess it was, or something like that?
Actually 91. I raced Trans Am car at Cleveland.
Yeah. And as far as the future goes, what are you looking to do?
Well, I'm just going to wait and see. We're going to we'll be here for a while, and the way racing is, you really can't set too many goals, you just be disappointed. So I'm just going to try to do my best here, and not really thinking of the future. Just going to try to run good.
Well, the goal is to get up from the back of the grid there. All the best, right. Jamie.
Thank you very much.
Winner of round 1 in Phoenix, and now starting a little bit further back than you'd probably like to here at Mosport. What's going to be your strategy for this one?
Well, they've always told me when in doubt, flat out. I don't know. It's the same old story. I'm still learning a lot about these cars. You have to have tires on these cars at the end of the race in order to win. I need to get up front so I don't lose sight of everybody too quickly, but nonetheless, I have an hour in which to do it. So, it's going to be a tough one. You can't play out all the scenarios in your head until it plays itself out. I'm ready to be fairly aggressive, but safe in doing it, so.
Okay, well, then indeed, have a safe race then, Price.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Probably the best dark horse of this race turns out to be our own Kenny Wilden. Kenny starting on the outside of the 3rd row now due to Jamie's problem there with the weight.
Yeah, it's it's got a good brake and a bad brake. It would have been nice to start on the inside, but I'm starting beside Ron Fellows. I've done that a lot of times in the past Players GM series. So our goal is just to get through corner 1 safe, and I'll have the inside line for 2, which will be nice. So.
You're starting up with all the fast guys. Has anybody talked to you and given you sort of an idea of how this first lap's going to go? You're starting on the outside of Ronnie Fellows?
Well, Ron just chatted with me. He just said, no reason to be nervous. He said I can drive this car fine enough, and we can both trust each other. I think he's quite happy to have me starting beside him, and I'm happy to have him over there. So, I'm just going to hopefully, with Ron setting the pole speed, I'm just planning on hooking on his bumper and going for a ride with him.
Well, we wish you all the best. Certainly, probably the most competitive dark horse out here, and it turns out to be Kenny Wilden. Congratulations on the starting spot.
Great, thanks very much.
Fastest qualifier, Ron Fellows, a new track record. Have you guys been following the weather forecast as you get buckled in here?
Yeah, I think we're going to be okay. It's supposed to rain here about 4 o'clock, so hopefully we'll get this thing underway and stay dry and stay safe.
Nice to see yourself and Kenny starting side by side. Everybody's going to be smiling about that one. What's the strategies at the start of this race? Obviously, it's going to be a long one.
Yeah, we're going to be patient. We've got being the fastest qualifier here, we've got a little bit of work to do now that they invert the top 5. So we'll just be patient and pick our spots when we can get them.
Okay, all the best then, Ron.
Thank you.
Third fastest qualifier, Boris said, a little bit of a problem last year, but he limped it across the line, and the fans really appreciated that, the effort that you put in. Are you aware of the fans around here?
Yeah, I've been coming up here doing 24-hour races for about 5 years, and it's just a great place to race. It's my favorite track in North America, and last year was bad luck. Somebody dropped oil and I crashed, but I was stuck in the wall, and I was just determined to finish. I was so close, so I got it across the line. I couldn't even see in front of me, but it was great, and it means a lot when you see the fans cheering on the fence when you're driving by.
Yourself and the crew, you've been talking about strategy, no doubt. Have you been looking at the forecast and maybe seeing that play into this?
Yeah, if it rains, it rains. I've raced here a lot in the rain. So whatever happens, happens. I'm ready for it.
Okay, all the best then, Boris, on starting third.
Thanks a lot.
Tommy Kendall, no stranger to Mosport. What do you got planned for this one?
Well, we fell just 100th short of being 3 for 3 poles up here, so that gave us a little bit better starting position, and but also gave us some additional motivation for today. So we're just going to run it as hard as we can. I got 3 quick guys in front of me and 1 behind me, so I got my work cut out for me.
Well, then all the best for the race, and we'll see you afterwards.
Thank you very much.
Good day out there. Have fun. Good luck, man.
So they're moving through the field. Sid, again, looks to the outside of Ron Fellows, but does not try the line. And the front 3 remain static in very close quarter competition as they complete yet another lap. This will be the completion of lap number 17. Coming up on half distance in this 40-lap, 98.36 mile event at Mosport. Approaching you. They are going to change the lead. You'll join up at the back of the field. He'll deal with the back runners very quickly as he goes up.
Those tires that go on are cold, so he's going to start.
I'm impressed. He's had a fast car. Lockhart gave him good equipment, but to handle the pressure that he's had to handle throughout this event in this fight for fourth is just great.
Oh, it's absolutely incredible. I mean,
anyway, off is John Gooding. It looks to be in turn number 1, and he's hit something pretty hard. A lot of debris flying around on the outside of that turn. He does not close down yet. Now they're coming up the hill. It is Jerry Simmons. Sure, he knows they're there. He spins sideways in the hairpin, and they both get through underneath the Simmons.
Wow, that really.
Here at Mosport. Ron Fellows with the American Equipment Racing AER Manufacturing Chevy Camaro.
You made it all the way to the end, and this time you got to be happy about Mosport. Congratulations.
Yeah, Mosport's been a good racetrack for me all along, and you know, we went through a lot of adversity here with knocking the car into the wall yesterday and turning it all up, and guys did a good job putting it together. I said yesterday we had a really good race car, and it is. This thing is awesome. I like this racetrack, and we're on the roll now.
Anything in particular that you encountered on that track that maybe gave you a problem or concerned you at all?
Well, you know, Jen Losey spun right in front of me, and could have gotten a wreck there and got lucky, and then we caught those two cars on the last lap, and the one guy spun in front of me again. I went, oh man, we're kind of dodging bullets all day. I knew I had the race car, you know, to win this race, but you know, you never know. You can get wrecked by somebody else, and I was just on that big wreck out on the straightaway. I said, don't be me this time, you know. So it was great.
Congratulations on the win, Dorsey.
Thank you.
Get him up here. All right, how about it? A round of applause for your winner.
Another podium finish, Boris. Congratulations. That was a great run.
Thanks a lot. I mean, it was really close. I mean, Ron and I were running really close at the top of the hill, and you know, it was a lot of fun. 2 laps from the end, there was a big crash over the top of the hill, and I saw a waving yellow, and I thought it was a flashback from a year ago. So I really slowed down. I thought there was going to be a yellow, and I made a mistake and got a little behind. But you know, I'll take the third. I'm real happy with it. Good conservative finish, and you know, I just got to look for racking up the points, and hopefully next week at Lime Rock it'll be my time.
Well, consistency pays off in the end, that's for sure, with 2/3 now. What about Lime Rock? What do you feel about that?
Well, it's my home track. That's where I'm originally from. You know, now I live in California, but you know, mostly I'm hoping for a good close race like today, because that's what makes it fun. I mean, when you're running inches apart, 168 miles an hour, I mean, that's just a lot of fun. I wish it would just keep going. I was sorry to see the checker flag.
Well, you can keep that kind of fun. Congratulations on 3rd place.
Hey, thanks a lot.
About half an hour's time, the World Challenge race, which will wrap up on.
Can I give this to Linda?
Sure.
Ron Fellows, 2nd place. Congratulations. It was a good run right from the start. You were right there the whole way.
Yeah, it was a real good race. You know, we did everything we could to try and pass Dorsey. He had a little more straight line on us, and you know, he protected his position, so it made it very difficult to pass. I really needed him to make a fairly large mistake, and I did everything but hit him.
A couple laps towards the end there, when we had the yellow out in the back straight, did you expect perhaps a full course?
I backed out of it. I think so did Boris. All 3 of us did. And I just as I looked up, I saw I'd turned 9. It was green again. I thought, whoa, better get on it here. And I think that's where the gap came between myself and Boris. Boris, I'm sure, anticipated a full course caution, but you know, that was the car was in a dangerous spot. There's no question, but we all saw it. We did the best we could. You know, the car was very, very good. But I just couldn't find a way by Dorsey.
Moving on to Lime Rock, your feelings about that?
Well, we've always been very good there. this inversion is going to make life difficult. There's no question. I had the pole there in '93 last time we were there, and won in '92. So I'm looking forward to it. I think we got a little bit of work to do to be just a little bit better, so we can race from 5th place a little bit better.
Well, it's great to see you back on the podium here at Mosport. Congratulations, Ron.
It's great to be back here, at least finishing.
Kenny Wilden had a fantastic debut with the Trans Am Series. The start was beautiful. You moved across there, and then you just kept that 4th place for the longest while. What happened towards the end?
Well, we had a big off-road excursion down on 5B with Genelosi going for a big spin in the middle of the track, and everybody went off to avoid him, and I think might have chewed up some tire going across a lot of the gravel on that. It's it was one of those things. We were running strong, but every lap I was having to defend guys off coming into 8. At the end of the back straight, they were pulling up beside me every lap, and that was kind of disappointing because I was spending most of my race just keeping the guys off. And once one guy went through, then they just the car was gone. So I was happy for the first 20 laps. The last 20 I could forget about right now.
Well, how about it? Your first ride. What do you think of Trans Am? And you definitely have a lot of talk in the pits. I think a lot of people are going to be mentioning the name Kenny Wilden when they head home to their race shops.
Well, I hope so. I think everybody saw I can run in the front and stay out of trouble. I didn't run into anybody, and I think it was good for a debut. And I think once I get more comfortable in these cars, we get another chance with our sponsors. We'll be there.
So you're going to sit down with your sponsors for sure and discuss perhaps future races.
I'm going to go down and talk to him right now.
Well, congratulations. It was great to see your run, and really, you did a fine job all weekend. I don't think you have anything to be sad about no matter where you finished. You've made a lot of people impressed.
Thanks, Glenn. Appreciate it.
Dorsey, Schroeder. Bottle washer for the actual Chevrolet Camaro, the yellow car with the window on the sponsorship on it. That owns a performance shop in Central Ontario. Performance Improvements, by the way, the name of the place, if you happen to stop by. But if there's anybody looking to spot that, not simple for them, but combined with that, the work that Rolf did, 2 stops, full time machines, catching the new lap, and a lot of time to come back to 4th place.
Very good. Kendall through the passenger side. Dan Robinson, can we have a round of applause for the winner in Thunder Tires this afternoon?
Well, a little bit battered up, but the number 2 is back in victory lane. The feature winner again. Congratulations, Dan Robinson.
Thank you very much. I would like to thank the Priggin number 2 car was just hanging on there, just great. Getting around the corners. I'd like to thank Competitive Brake and Exhaust and California Custom Cleaning and Stan and Ollie Robinson and my sponsors. And it was really, really going good.
How about that comment on the way it's getting around here?
The way it's getting around, well, I've the car's been set up, same setup as last year. Like John Miracle set it up last year, driving it all season, and it was, you know, and I think what I'm doing now is I'm getting around a little bit smoother. I'm coming out of the corners better, not sliding the back end of the car out. And if I don't do that, I can get, you know, better speed down the straightaways, and it's good all around.
Well, you got it hooked up. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Rickman.
And will be urged to get the car rolling again. We are still. Dives into 3. Side by side, puts it over the 78 car out front by Fishes. Now it's second. Speedway into turn number 1. Here's Wilden with 6
I think one of the wildest races of the night, the street stock feature, and the winner, Derek Henderson.
It was pretty good. Started 14th. Looking up the field, I thought we're never going to get up there, but we finally made it. It was a rough goal.
This really is the most aggressive class, wouldn't you say?
It's real competitive. You pick any night, you might as well just put all our car numbers in a hat and draw who's going to win. It's really tight.
Yeah, I guess that's why we tend to see a lot more bumping and rubbing.
A little bit. It was pretty good tonight, actually, I think. It was quite smooth. There was 1 or 2 tire marks, but I guess you have to expect that.
Well, you wiped yours off already, but congratulations, you're the feature winner.
Great, thanks a lot. I want to thank Carriage Auto Body, Custom Automotive, 3 Boys Fish and Chips, and my crew, Jamie and Ted. If it wasn't for them, I probably wouldn't be here. Thanks a lot.
All right, Derek Henderson, the feature winner in street stocks. Leatherdale beside him. Well, our first 50-lap invitational for the modifieds, and it's a familiar sight back here again. Dwight Brown, congratulations, future winner.
Thank you very much. The car ran great today. The R&B Motorsports car it was perfect. Crew and family and friends and supporters, everything was great today.
I noticed you started back in about 15th spot and then really hooked up around the inside, at least through 2, and then towards the end you got up to the top 3 and took a couple of them at least on the outside.
Yeah, right at the beginning of the race, a lot of the guys that haven't been here before, they pushed up higher than they expected, I guess, in the corner and left lots of room at the bottom, so I went around the bottom, and then the 3 guys that had already made it to the front, they were the ones slowing down enough, I guess, to stay at the bottom, and we had room to go around the outside, and the car was fast enough. It worked great.
Plain and simple. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Well, I think one of the nights you'd probably just want to forget about was tonight in the 50-lap feature modified.
Geez, it didn't. What a night it was. We couldn't get the car working right. It was missing. We finally cleared up the miss, and man, wherever there was an accident, I seemed to be in the middle of it.
What exactly went on tonight out there? Can you just sort of recap it for us and the way you saw it?
Holy, it just seemed to be everything was either going the wrong way or the last one there, that 83 car just seemed to get sideways in front, and I just run out of room and kind of tagged the wall. I thought we could get the car back together, but you know, we got it back here. The tie rod and whatnot just looked like a banana, so we just couldn't get it back out.
How about the car itself? You happier this week with the way it's been running?
Yeah, I was really happy actually. In the feature, the heats were terrible. We finally got the miss out come the feature time, and man, we had that car rolling. You know, the crew and all night. I don't think that they got to eat or nothing. They were awful hungry, and they just wanted to get the car done. And when we got out there, it really did work well.
Well, we'll see how it goes next week.
All right, thanks, Glenn.
Michel Beyore, I think, had one of the tougher nights as well tonight. Can you comment about that at all?
Yeah, well, we had trouble. The cars changed quite a bit from the setup. We lightened it up, and we had a motor go in practice, and this is a new one, and we in the feature we got a vibration, so we got to take it home, take it apart, have a look. So I don't know, it doesn't look good.
That seemed to be your nemesis last year, was engines. What did you try and change over the winter to try and at least compensate for that from last year's bad fortunes, I suppose?
Well, it's pieces we can't control. Like we can't balance the motors. We put them together. My dad puts them together, but we send the crank out and rods to be balanced, and we have no control. And I think that's what our problem is right here. We've got a vibration, and it's brand new. So it's beyond our control. It's got to come out, and somebody has to fix it. But that's been our problem all along. It's stuff we can't control. We have no control over. So it just keeps eating at us.
Well, you'll be back next week, though?
Oh, yeah, we'll be back.
A 5-hour drive is no problem. It would be nicer to have a trophy in your hand, but, instead of engines.
The